Hey, this is Melody with Melody's Homestead. Today I'm going to be making some batches of homemade coconut oil lye soap. So I'm going to show you how I do that. It's only 39 degrees outside right now, but despite the temperature, you can make soap in just about any weather unless it was below freezing. So I'm going to be working on that today. So let's get started. Okay, so here is all the equipment that I'm going to use, and I'm doing this outside because when you're working with lye, there is a little bit of safety concerns with it, so you have to take some precautions. That's really important. So I do this outside and with the kids in the house, and so I have a well ventilated area. And you also want safety goggles, rubber gloves, and vinegar in case any of the lye mixture splashes on you. This will immediately neutralize it. So the equipment that I'm using today and the supplies are a large metal bucket. I just use this just for soap making, a metal spoon, a smaller metal spoon, and again I just use these. Any equipment is just used for the soap making purposes. You need a good digital kitchen scale that's very accurate, an immersion blender. I've got this hooked into an extension cord. You need a digital thermometer, some containers for measuring out your water, your lye beads, and your coconut oil. You need some molds, and these molds are enough for one batch, so I use I've got a sunflower mold, a rose mold, and then a loaf mold. And then once the soap comes out of the loaf mold, I use this soap cutter. And some of these supplies I got on Amazon, and then other supplies you can get from soap making supply companies. A couple of good ones are EssentialDepot.com and OldTimeSoapCompany.com. Okay, so here, this is an option, but I use this product from OldTimeSoapCompany.com. It's ultramarine blue dye for the soap to give it a blue color. They have many different colors. And you just have to use a little bit. A little bit goes a long way in a batch of soap. This is almond bitter fragrance oil that I'm using to give my soap a nice almond fragrance. And they have at Essential Depot many different types of fragrances you can choose from. And let's see, you need distilled water. These are about 88 cents a gallon if you want to get these at Walmart. And of course you need lye beads. This comes from EssentialDepot.com. This is food grade sodium hydroxide lye beads. And coconut oil. Now I got this really large bucket. This is like a 25-pound bucket of coconut oil that I got from Essential Depot. I got this as well as many of my other supplies from them when they were having a Christmas sale where most of the products were half off. So I got this for a really great price. This is even cheaper. You can get like a 54, I think it's like 54-ounce container at Sam's Club. And buying it this way, it's even cheaper than that. It's like more than half or less than half the price as the bucket at Sam's Club. So this is food grade as well, so you can use it to cook with, or you can use it to make soap or other types of beauty products, coconut oil. So we're going to be using that today as well. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is measure. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is go grab my recipe. I forgot the recipe, so I'm going to go grab that real quick. Okay, so here we go. As you see, I've got my safety equipment on. Very important to have goggles on. These go all the way around my face. I've got my rubber gloves on. And the first thing I'm going to do is measure out my lye beads with my digital scale. And I have one that goes to different units. So I need to put it on ounces. Okay, and the first thing I'll do is I'm going to put my jar on here that I'm using as my container to measure in. And you see my jar weighs almost 16 ounces. So I'm going to hit tare. That takes it back down to 0. And now I can start adding the lye in until I have, let's say I need 9.7 ounces exactly. So it's really important to be precise. So I just add a little bit at a time until I get to 9.7 ounces. And then hopefully I won't have to take any back out, but that's what that little spoon is for if I do. Okay, about another ounce to go. I touched the glass jar, that's why I did that for a minute. Okay. Oh, no. I hate it when that happens. Okay, so I have to take off. It's at 9.88, so I'm going to have to take off about let's see, 9.8. I needed it at 9.7. So let's see, where's my spoon at? I'm going to turn the camera off while I do this. Okay, so I measured out 24.25 ounces of distilled water, and I'm going to put that in first. And then I'm going to add the 9.7 ounces of lye beads. I'm going to sit back just for a minute because this is going to start steaming. There'll be a chemical reaction that takes place, as you'll see. Stirring this together. So it's heating up very quickly. I'm not sure if you can see the steam coming off there or not. And this is you want to make sure you have a very well ventilated area. And the wind's blowing just a little bit, so this is kind of taking in the other direction as well. I'm going to stir this together really well. And then I have to let this sit until the temperature comes down to about 100 degrees. So I'll come back in just a few minutes and check the temperature. But in the meantime, I'm going to be measuring out my coconut oil, which I need 54 ounces of the coconut oil. Now I have kind of a more solid coconut oil. It needs to be liquid. So it's fine if you have a warmer day, you could let this sit out kind of in the sun. It melts very quickly, easily. But I just put mine in the microwave on a lower power setting, like maybe 30-40% for a few minutes until it melts. And it's just at a lukewarm temperature. So you want to make sure that the coconut oil is melted and also at a lukewarm temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and use my scale and my bowl and measure out 54 ounces of coconut oil. Okay, so I've got 54 ounces of coconut oil measured out now in my bowl. So I'm going to go stick this in the microwave for just a few minutes so it gets just melted and at a lukewarm temperature. Okay, so I'm going to put this on 50% power and allow it to cook for a couple minutes, and then give it a stir, and then just keep doing that. Just keep doing that until it's melted good and at a round lukewarm temperature. What we're going to do is add, after the lye water mixture gets down to around 100 degrees, then we're going to add this coconut oil in to our immersion blender until it comes to trace. And I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. Okay, so I just checked the lye water mixture, and it's around 108.9, 108.3, 108.1 now, around the 108 degrees. So it's almost there. So I just have to let it cool down. It's cooling down a little quicker, I think, today because it's so cold outside. So I'll have to work kind of quickly here after it gets down to about 100 degrees, and add my coconut oil and start blending that together here in just a minute. Okay, so my lye solution has cooled down to just below 100 degrees, and now I'm going to add my coconut oil. And then we need to start using the immersion blender to mix this together. I'm just going to put a little bit at a time. And I have to keep doing this until the mixture comes to trace. And basically what that means is when you run it, you could run this across and it leaves a good trace. It starts to thicken up real good. So there's a kind of a fine line there between when it's ready and when you put it in the molds. If you let it get too thick, it's harder to get into the molds. Give my hand a rest for a moment. And before this gets too thick, I want to go ahead and add my fragrance and the blue dye that I have. I'm going to add about a couple of ounces, maybe about an ounce, ounce and a half of that. It's pretty strong. And then some of my dye. See how this is starting to thicken up. It smells great. I love that scent. It smells like amaretto coffee creamer, if you've ever had that. Smells exactly like that. about there. See how it's leaving a line? This is called coming to trace. And I think I'm going to probably go ahead and get this in my mold here in just another minute. So I'm going to turn the camera off and then I'll show you what I can't put this in the molds at the same time because I've got to work rather quickly to get all this in the mold. So I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I got all the soap in the molds. As you can see, it's already starting to set. It's got a lot thicker. It sets pretty quickly. And you definitely want to use silicone molds because they just pop right out. You don't have to worry about them sticking. So if you do choose to make your own soap, I would highly recommend using the silicone molds. Okay, so here's the finished product. I usually end up with about 30 bars of soap all together between the mold soap and the bar soap I cut. This is still a little wet. I took it out of the mold a little early just to show you. But the darker area here is where it's still drying. But after it gets completely dry, I'll use this soap cutter, cut it into individual bars. And these need to dry. You need to keep them on a rack. I keep them in my my bathroom closet that has racks that have airflow that go underneath. So that helps them to cure. So you definitely want to make sure you put them on some type of a rack or a tray where they're going to get some airflow from the bottom. And they need to cure for at least 2 or 3 weeks. You could use it before then, but what I found is they dissolve a little bit faster if you do. So it's really better if you let them sit for a couple of weeks before you use them. Our entire family absolutely loves this. We will probably never go back to store-bought soap because we love the cleaning power of this soap. The way it leaves our skin feeling, and the scents, the variety of scents that you can use, and it's just neat, to be able to make your own soap. And I'll use one of the cured bars that we already have to show you the lathering power of this soap. Okay, so this is a bar of soap that we have. We've already been using, but I want to show you how that it has cured. So I want to show you how it lathers. As you can see, it lathers really well. You can see that. So it has great cleaning power. It actually, in my opinion, cleans better than any store-bought soap that we've ever used. So it has wonderful lathering power, as you can see. Cleans well and smells wonderful, and it just really leaves your skin feeling soft and smooth. It's more like a beauty bar. So I don't think we'll ever go back to store-bought soap because we absolutely love this soap recipe. Okay, so this hasn't dried all the way, but I'm going to go ahead and attempt to just cut one bar out just to show you how this is done. My kids actually love to help with this too, so I'll go ahead and try to cut one bar slice off. It's still a little bit drying some. There we go. There we go. So that's the bar soap, and then I have all these mold soaps as well. So this is, in my opinion, really worth the effort because we really love this soap. Our whole family loves this soap. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I encourage you to make some of your own products like homemade coconut oil soap.